And this week, I want to talk about how your brand can stand out on social media. Now, we've been working with brands for maybe the past 4 years in their digital marketing efforts. And one of the biggest things is understanding social media and how to get ahead of the curve, in essence. One day, the algorithm loves you, the next day, it doesn't. And sometimes it just feels like a never ending rat race. But there are a few key things that stay the same regardless of what's going on the specific platform you've chosen. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Item number one is understanding and deciding how to figure out what platform you should be on. This is actually very important. If you are a smaller brand or creator, it's important to select a platform that you first, one, enjoy. Now, the reason I say that you enjoy, because when you enjoy doing something, you're going to be consistent with it because consistency is key. And when you have a platform where it's like, you know what, I hate video. If I don't want to be in front of the camera, I don't want to go through this whole process, it's going to feel like doom and gloom every time you open up your phone, open up your camera to start this process. But if you're a written word type of person, if this is what you enjoy, then figuring out a social media platform like Twitter, it makes it easier for you to stay consistent. So item number one in making your mark is figuring out where to claim your stake. And that's the most important thing here as you go forward. Next up is that consistency piece. So once you've claimed your stake, you have to get your audience as well as the algorithm used to when they should expect to hear from you. In essence, you don't have to do it every single day. It doesn't have to be one of those things where it's like 7 days a week, I'm here. Now, there's some people who that is the case, but I don't think it's necessary as we go forward. There used to be a time where it was expected for you to show up every day, but now you have accounts who are only posting 3 times a week and they're still getting good engagement and good reach. This ties into figuring out what your ROI is, or your return on investment. I think oftentimes we start off creating content, putting things out there without thinking of what the end goal is. Is it for new customers? Is it for brand awareness? Is it for a launch? Is it for a product release? Is it just to get your audience to know you better? These things make a difference because it also determines the cadence and how you go about posting things. It also goes into how you create what type of content that needs to be out there. So it matters understanding like, hey, this is the cadence of how I want to be consistent. My next tip is making sure you understand who your target audience is and what they want to hear from you and what they want to learn from you. Now, this piece, I always feel like I go back and forth on. Your target audience should be who you think of every time you think of your content. And where I go back and forth is my team often tells me, Anna, you should be creating content for the audience and not for yourself. Well, at times that can be a little difficult because the things my audience may need may not be what I necessarily want to talk about. And this is why your ROI is important. Because if the whole premise of why I'm creating content is to lead people back to the work that we do and to the services that we offer, then it does matter what my audience wants. But if you're an independent creator and you're just creating content because it's just something you enjoy to do, it doesn't matter if anybody watches. It doesn't matter if they buy anything. You're just doing it for the art of content, then that's drastically different. But in most cases, that's just not the case. Now, some of the tools and resources you can utilize for that is Ask the Public, Google Trends. There's different tools that are out there to let you know what people are talking about in regards to a specific topic. This makes a difference because then you are able to curtail your content based off of what people are already searching for and making it easier for them to find you when they search for that particular element. It's in essence creating an ecosystem for your social media and an ecosystem for how you go about creating content like this. Next up is you want to establish your brand voice and tone. Often I find where if I go to your social media and then I go to your website and I find you on LinkedIn and I see your personal page, all of these places, I don't realize that I'm even looking at the same brand because the brand voice is not cohesive or consistent. That doesn't make me feel like I can trust your brand because I'm not really sure what you're selling me. So it's important to develop that cohesion across the board. Now, this is where it's important to do your brand strategy before you ever And let me say that again. Develop a brand strategy before you ever go about the process of actually putting out content on social media or any platform for that matter. By having a brand strategy and understanding, okay, this is my target audience, this is where they like to spend their time, this is how I want to show up in the world as a brand, an individual, and a company, then it makes a difference because that's how you develop everything that you put out. Now, I know I sometimes struggle with this or all the time of where it's like I want to have a personality and a personal brand that has nothing to do with my overarching business. And yes, it's more work, but it is possible. So you want to create cohesion between your website, your social, so that this way, when people see your content, it's almost like Law and Order Special Victims Unit. When you hear that theme song, you immediately know something is coming. Same concept. People should be able to feel you and your presence of your brand just by seeing your content, reading your content, and really interacting with it. Lastly, authenticity. I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. Authenticity is really keyword number one. I think if I'm thinking of 2024's word, the word of the year is authenticity. I think gone are the days where people really want to see the facade and people don't really want to be sold to anymore. I know, for example, I have muted the word coaching on all platforms. I don't want to see any post that says the word coach. There's a reason for that because people feel consistently sold to, and after a while, it starts making you feel for yourself like, okay, clearly I'm not doing enough. And people don't want that feeling anymore. They don't want you to sell them a product, sell them a service. They want you to instead connect with them, educate them. They want you to provide them with something valuable so that they know that you're who they want to turn to. Now, this is definitely a long-term strategy and not something where immediately tomorrow they'll be banging down your door. It's very possible, but I to this day still have clients who find me from content that I put out 2 years ago and it resonated with them. They followed me ever since. And because of that, when they were ready, it was me that they chose to come to. So when you're thinking of social media, when you're thinking of marketing in general, you want to think of the long game and not just a short-term turnaround. When you're thinking short-term, you probably want to focus more so on paid ads and paid avenues. But when you're thinking of your social media and marketing in general, you are building a brand, you are building awareness, you are building authority so that people feel connected to you and the go-to resource when they are ready to invest. Now, if you are looking for support or just trying to understand a little bit more about how to stand out on social media, here at Adode, we do a lot more than just social media management, which when I think of management, it's just the posting of the content. You have to provide us with the information, and then from there, we take it from there. Well, in actuality, we focus on social media marketing, meaning that we come to you or you come to us here at our studio in Atlanta, Georgia, and we capture the content for you. That's your photos, that's your videos, that's your graphics. And we create that so that that's one less thing you have to worry about. And we take the legwork out. We do the research to understand who your audience is and so much more. So if you're ready to offload that and give that to an agency that's ready to support you, go ahead and reach out to us at adodemedia.com. Now, if you found this information helpful, I really do hope that you tune in next time. And until then, have a good one.